Hello friends, so today I am making this quick little video just to videotape my tip-in. So this is my first tip-in general, but then this is also my first tip-in in this Bible. And so during the Christmas season of 2025, which we are still in December, I actually participated in my church's Christmas choir during their Christmas show, which was December 13th. And one of my favorite songs that we sang was Silent Night, Heavenly Peace, which is a different rendition of Silent Night. So the lyrics are just a little bit different than probably what you are used to seeing. So I loved this song so much. And so I wanted to kind of memorialize not just the song, but my participation in the choir for the first time ever. So I have nice script, but I do not have nice print. And so it's really important to me that you be able to read this because this is one of the things that I would like to leave to my children in the future that they can look at. So it'll be kind of like a little bit of a legacy Bible. And so I am going to be putting this tip in the Crossway ESV version of the Journaling Bible. And this is the Ruth Simmons watercolor version, which is my favorite. I absolutely love this version of all the versions. And so as you can see, I've kind of already added a little bit of washi tape. So I did like a poinsettia tape here. And then this one has like Christmas berries and acorns on this side. And so this is just a little sticky note that I have in here that I will rewrite eventually to be able to put some sermon notes, because this is sermon from December 21st, that Sunday. But the reason why I chose Luke's 2nd is because our Christmas, not just our Christmas service, but also the Christmas play that we did at church was based out of the 2nd chapter of Luke. And so after they read this portion of Luke, this is the song we sang. And this was my favorite song. And so this is the tip-in that I want to put in today. I did not use Bible paper because I have not bought any as of yet, but I wanted something super thin that wouldn't expand my Bible too much. And so this is actually just tracing paper. I bought a big packet of tracing paper. I think it was like 150 sheets for like $5 off Amazon, which I can link below if you like. So it has like the waxy side on this side, and then it's got the more porous side on this side. So I love the way it looks right now. What I ended up doing was I just ended up printing the portion. These are not all the lyrics. It's just a portion of the lyrics that I loved. And so I just put it behind, and then I just went over it with a micron pen, which is the Micron 3, because it's archival ink and it's also waterproof. And I have tested that before. And so I did do a little image of a poinsettia flower to go along with it, and I just adjusted it on the page to fit what I wanted it to fit. Eventually I would probably like to do a little bit of a mini wreath around it perhaps, but we're not going to do that today. So it is partially done. So let me get this Bible out of the way. And so what I want to do right now is I would like to do just a little bit of watercolor on the poinsettia. So I brought you in just a little bit closer so that you can read the lyrics. They're so good. This is my favorite part right here. The way that our choir director had to sing it, the tone in which he had to sing it was just absolutely beautiful. And I think that that was just something that stuck with me so much. And so that's why I absolutely felt like this is something that needed to stay with me as a memory. And so what I have today is actually going to be washi tape. So I got this at Hobby Lobby. It was 40% off for the pack of 2. And I did this already on the outside, and then I also did it on the page of Luke so that I could find it very quickly as well. And then this is going to be it's a little bit thinner, obviously. So I'm going to use this on this side to tape in my tip in. So we'll get to that in a little bit. I bought this pack of watercolor brushes at Hobby Lobby. They were actually, I think they were 60% off if I recall correctly, during one of their sales. So this is Curate Colour. They had them on sale, and I knew that I needed some to be able to do some of the projects that I had planned, and this worked out just perfect. So I am going to use this one, which I believe is a 0. because I don't need, it's a very small space I'm going to be working in. And then the watercolors that I got are just in the interim. So this is a package that I got also from Hobby Lobby. Those are the ones I've swatched so far. Not the little brush guide, but it does come with this. So this is a swatch guide that they kind of give you as well. And the colors are actually the more you put in them, the more pigmented they are. So the colors that I want to use today are actually probably going to be crimson, and then the deep green. And I do not have a yellow that's open, but I really kind of like this yellow ochre. So I might do that one, or I might do this number 6, which is Gambash. So we will see. So either 6 or 7. Deep green I already have open, and then crimson and deep red I have open. So I'm kind of like in between. I might end up doing the deep red just because it'll match the washi tape a little bit better. So it does come with this as well. And then this just opens up, and I believe this one was $24.99, and it was your price, which means that there is no discount on this. So you have to pay whatever price it is. And so far it's worked pretty good. I've done a couple of projects with it. Actually, I've done one project. This will be my second. And so this one here, if we're looking at our color swatches, this one here is the dark green. This one here is the dark red. And then this is the crimson that's already open. And so I want to take a look at this one, which will be the ochre. So let's try to pop that out. Let's pop it open. Oh, I kind of like that. That does kind of look like the inside of a poinsettia. Let's snap that back in. And then I also, so that's number 7. And then this is number 6 in here. Let's pop this open. And this is Gambash. There you can see it a little bit better. Yeah. So let's pop this one open. That looks kind of bright, actually, brighter than the ochre. So maybe we'll use a little combination of both. Okay, so I've got a little bit of water already ready to go over here. And let's do this, shall we? I'm gonna move this over so it will be out of your view because I'm going to put this in view for you. And then I'm gonna zoom in a little bit for you. Okay, so I put a little A5 sheet underneath just to keep it from soaking through into my cloth or my table runner that I have here. I'm just gonna wet my brush here and dab it off. And then I think I'm going to pick up some of the ochre. That's kind of the color. The name is really calling out to me. And so we're just going to dab a little bit in here. Nothing special, it is watercolor, so it doesn't have to be perfect. I actually prefer a little bit of a messier watercolor look. And I can probably go over this again with my pen after it dries. And then I'm going to pick up some of the deep green. The grass green, I used it for another project, and it was very, I felt as though it was too brilliant of a color to use. So I really didn't like that. It was too bright. And honestly, this one looks a little bright too. But I might end up using 2 different color greens just because I would like the ferns and then the branches to kind of have a little bit of a distinction between them versus all being the same color green. And so I'm just going to kind of fill in these little spots. I was not really worried about the way I traced this. I was okay with it being just a little bit messy. I was more than fine with that because I like that look. It's still clean, it's still aesthetic, but it's just a little messy, and I'm okay with that. And so I am going to end up using some of that green grass and kind of fill this in. Oh, I like that actually a lot. I like that a lot. That is nicer than what I thought it would be. So I am letting some of that sit in there. You should know that prior to my last project, which was just a poppy, it was just a poppy on a blue background. I had never used watercolor before, except like if you count like in kindergarten when you use the Crayola watercolors. That's the only time I've used watercolor before. So that's how easy it is. And I'm not the best drawer. I cannot draw very well. So for me, tracing paper and tracing the things that I want is absolutely perfect because it doesn't require a lot of work on my part and it gets the job done. So I am going to probably mix some of this green in here too, just to kind of give it a little bit more depth, I guess. As you can see, it's not perfect and it doesn't have to be. I'm not going to do any of the branches because I like to have them different like that. I am going to go in though and do the berries in a different color. So I have the crimson and I have the deep red. So I think I'm going to do the crimson is lighter. So I'm going to pick up some of the crimson and I'm just going to dot these berries up here because they're a little bit brighter. The crimson is a little bit brighter than the dark red. I wanted that to be a little cleaner, which is fine. We're not looking for perfection. We are just looking to make ourselves happy, and we're looking to just be happy with what we're looking at, kind of having an exit. So I love that so far. And now I'm going to pick up some of the deep red, which is number 12 on this palette. And then we're going to just come in and, oh, I love the red. I'm very glad I decided to do the deep red here. Very, very glad. Okay, we're going to pick up a little bit more. So I have learned so far that the more you pick up and put over a spot, the darker that area would be. So you can layer colors. So I think of it as like buildable foundation. Like you'll buy foundation that's buildable, and so you can do like light coverage. And then if you add another layer, then it'll be a little bit darker or a little bit more fuller coverage, and so on and so forth. And essentially, like that's what this is with watercolor. That's what I've learned in my one project and a half, that you can build up layers, and then by doing so you can add depth, and then the amount of water that you use will 100% dilute your color. So I felt like I put a little bit too much water in there, so I am picking some of that up, and then I'm picking some more color and then just kind of adding that in. I want to thank Scribbling Grace, because I probably binge watched all of her videos. So she does watercolor and acrylic, and she is so amazing, absolutely amazing. And so when I decided that I wanted to kind of start Bible journaling, I was looking for someone to watch, and I watched a couple different, and some of you guys out there are absolutely amazing and so talented. But I fell in love with Scribbling Grace's channel and watched all of it, like quite literally all of it. And she is just absolutely amazing. She breaks it down so good. And she's really the one that made me confident, gave me confidence in the fact that I can do this and that it does not have to be perfect. Like, it's okay if it's not perfect. She will always tell you, she's like, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's about getting into the word. And I think that that's just such a good way of putting it because it's so true. It's not about it being perfect. We are imperfect and God meets us where we are. And this is a physical way of showing that we are not perfect. I really like that, guys. I'm very happy right now. Oh no! I got some of my... Oh, I wonder if I can get some of that off. Well, I guess I can. So I just took a clean brush and just brushed some of this watercolor off that I accidentally got on my papers. It's no big deal. Great, perfect. I just took this flat brush and just put it in the water and then just rinsed off a little bit of red that I had gotten. And again, perfect example. So that micron pen is indeed waterproof, as you can see, because I brushed right over it and it worked out just fine. And so here is our page. We're going to let that dry. I'm very, very happy with it. I'm kind of wondering if I should maybe stain some of this in like a wreath. So like leave this area white, leave the middle area white, and then just kind of do, not stain, but do some of the watercolor kind of around it, kind of framing it. So I actually think I kind of want to do that. And I think I want to use, I think I'm going to do that. Absolutely. So let's go back here and let's look at these colors. So I think I like this lake blue because it's very muted. I think this dark blue is going to be too dark. I guess I could also use the olive green, but I feel like I've already used some olive. Or I guess I could use some of the ochre to go around it. I could probably do that. I guess let's do that. Let's keep it all in theme. So let's do the yellow ochre because it's already open, and let's do it almost like a wreath, or like a wreath around it. Perfect. So the yellow ochre is going to be number 7. So let's come back here. And so this time around, I am going to grab the big flat brush because that's what I'm trying to cover more area quicker. And so I'll grab some of this ochre. And I didn't grab a lot. And I'm just kind of lightly coating this area. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. I do love this color. I also like that the tracing paper kind of, it gets a little bit crinkly, which any of your paper will get crinkly, unless it's like watercolor paper. But I do like this because when it gets crinkly, it kind of ends up, when it gets crinkly, it kind of ends up pooling in some areas. and it kind of leads to it not being perfect, which is exactly what I'm trying to go for. I do want it to be a little bit darker in some areas, a little bit lighter in some areas. I just want it to have a little bit of that, I don't want to say use and abuse look, but definitely not new, not perfect look. And so I do kind of like that it's very, it kind of gives a little bit of like worn, and you can see a little bit of depth to it, which I really do love. Okay, so I love that. I do love that. So we're just gonna let it dry for a little bit and then we'll come back. Okay, so I'm back. I ended up just grabbing my blow dryer, which it should be noted is not actually recommended if you have watercolor, just because it can push the color around because the blow dryer is very, very strong. But I did put it on low and I did it from a little higher up. And so this is kind of what I have. So it is nice and dry now. None of it is wet. That literally took me maybe 2 minutes. And so now that I'm comfortable with this, I'm going to, well, this is still a little bit wet right here, so I'll hit it again in just a second. And so I am going to let this dry just a little bit where it was still a little bit wet. I'm going to apply the washi tape and then we will tip it in together. Okie dokie, my friends, we are back in the Bible. So it will eventually flatten out a little bit with the weight of the Bible, so I'm kind of happy about that. I did cut it down to size because this is not the size that it was originally, so I kind of took a guesstimate at what I thought that would look like. And so we're just kind of lining up a little bit so I get an idea of like where I want it or how much space I'll have. And so I'm going to go ahead and find my scissors. Just cut this straight right here, which I don't know why I did that because I need the edge anyway. Pull our tape. There we go. And then we're just going to grab just the tip of this. Doesn't have to be perfect. So you can see like how much we've grabbed there. We've grabbed probably like 1/3 of the washi tape is, maybe you can see about 1/3 of the washi tape is actually attached. And so we're going to bring it in as close as we can possibly get it. Make sure that it is inside. And then we're just going to snip the tips. We'll flip the page and push it down on that side. And then we're going to come in and snip the tips. Perfect. And then we'll do this side as well. So this side's a little harder than I expected. We do have a little bit of like overbearing there. I'll just flip that in. No one will know. Only I'll know. And frankly, that's all that matters. All right. So here is Luke 3. Here is part of Luke 2. And then you can see that this tip-in is just right in here. Oh, it looks so good. I am very happy with it. I like it because you can still kind of see like the letters in the back, so it's got a bit of a background. And I'm sure that the weight of the Bible itself will actually kind of flatten that out a little bit. So it does give it a little bit of chunk. Not so much from the side. But you can definitely see it here, which is probably because the washi, it's a double washi page. But that's it, my friends. That is it. And then when we flip to it, I can easily find it. And anytime I flip to this page now, it will remind me of that. I probably should put the date on it. I'll probably go back and do that. And then that's it. Our first tip-in is complete. Thank you for joining me.